Hi everybody. Today I'm going to talk about three things. There could be five really. Three things that you'll hear mentioned a lot on forums, and whenever anybody asks for advice on these three things, you'll get loads and loads and loads of different opinions. Some quite forceful as well, I find, and toxic, which is strange. So I thought, well, I'll put my thoughts out there on how I decide on tyres or oils or screens, because they're the three things: tyres, oil, and screens. So with tyres, my main concern really is cost and just visuals, how it looks and what it costs. Simply because over the last 10, 15, maybe 20 years, I've never really had a tyre that has caused me any concern. They've certainly provided enough grip in the dry and the wet. So grip and that's never been a big deal for me. And what you've got to remember as well with as tyres get better, we have to forget that the old ones, it didn't mean the old ones that were not very good. Because the new ones are really good, doesn't mean the old ones weren't very good. For instance, the VFR, I believe, came on Bridgestone BT21s and Road Smarts, not sure, I think it was maybe the first Road Smart. But I'm not sure what the later ones came with as standard. So if anybody bought one around 2017-ish, let me know what tyres were on that particular bike. Anyway, back to what I was saying. So I'm quite happy with the grip of modern tyres. So I'll look at cost and tread pattern. I've found that when I'm thinking about my tyres, it generally when something goes wrong. If I'm on the bike day in, day out, putting miles on, and I don't sort of like know the tyres there, I'm perfectly happy with it. And that's the way it's been on the VFR with the three sets I've had. So it came with, when I bought the bike, it had PR Michelin Pilot Road 4s, and I found they were okay. They did step a little bit. Some tyres seem to do worse than others. Again, depends on your riding style and your suspension settings. They did step a little bit, but the overall shape seemed pretty good, so I was quite happy with those. I tried the Avon Storms simply because I hadn't had any Avons for a while, and they did make me think about them a little bit. Like the first time I got on the bike and I was on a straight blue road, I was aware that they had quite a tippy-toey feel, made the bike feel as if it was on its tiptoes a bit. And a lot of that had to do, I think, was the profile of the tyre. I don't mean the sidewall profile, the 55 ratio, but from the edge of the tread to the top was quite high, and that was proven by my speedo and sat nav, which came closer together. It made my speedo more accurate. I've mentioned that a couple of times, but I don't think anybody else has had that issue. So they did feel up on the feet a little bit, but I got used to that, and I found that they actually turned in very quickly. The front on them was quite a sporty profile, but the front wore pretty quickly. Somebody said to me, it'll take two fronts to one rear, and I was a bit cynical about that, but yeah, they were. But otherwise, the Avon Storms, yeah, fine. Again, they started to step a bit, but that was at about 7,000 plus. They were wearing really well, the rear, wearing really well. So they were fine. Now these these Pirelli Angel GTs, again, I've never had an issue on the road with them. They've felt fine. And they do wear really nicely. I mean, the profile on this is pretty good. Flattened a little bit on the top. I'll put a picture up on there. They've watered the edge reasonably well. And as I said before, 6,500. And I'll get a little bit more out of them. So I'm pleased with those also. So there's no tyre that's bothered me too much over the last 15, I think I could say 20 years. My Firestorm, last time I had some Metzlers on, MEZ3s, I think. From that sort of time, fine. So no problems. I do fancy some Metzlers, funnily enough, because it's that long since I've had some. But the Roadtech 01's just a bit expensive. So jury's out yet. I may just replace them with the with the Pirellis again. I don't know. We'll see. No doubt you'll make some comments about it. But remember, the tyres to suit you. It's your riding style. It's what's important to you. Shape is important to me. Mileage, not so much, because I only do 6.5 to 7 a year. And generally, I'll get that over tyre. End of the season, I'm done with it. It's shape I'm interested in. Grip is there, really. No problem. Okay, so next thing is oils. I got a few went on a forum and said, I've just bought a VFR 1200. What oil do you recommend? You'll get hammered with stuff, you know. And some people have favourites. And I used to like Shell oil. I had no reason to like it. Again, I think I like the Shell logo from a kid. That's all it was. But when I bought the VFR, I got two. These were on offer from M&P, I think. It's Honda oil, 1030. But to be honest, all I'm interested in is the spec. Part synthetic, SG rating at least. And that'll do me if the specification's all right. I get my oils mainly from a place in Darlington, Smith and Allen. I'm not pushing, by the way. It's a lovely shop. It's not like a manly shop when you go in there. Smell of oil. They blend their own oil, I believe. And I get that because I've had that for years, and I'm quite happy with it. So again, with oils, by all means, if you have a favourite, stick with it, because it's up here, isn't it? If you think your engine's protected, you'll be a happy person. But I tend to just now look at spec, and yeah, I'll probably stick with that again. But if that comes up on offer again, simply because it's got Honda on it, 1030, it just makes you feel better, doesn't it, I suppose? So oils, I'm not that fussy providing the spec is correct. And again, I've never had an issue with an engine for years. Fingers crossed. Okay, last one. I'm not going to mention seats and shockers. Last one is screens. Again, somebody putting on the website, on the forum saying, I bought a VFR, what screen should I get? You'll get loads of advice. I like standard bikes, you know that. And I'm going to put a picture of a standard blue VFR. I like that picture. I like totally standard bikes. I think I've got a bit of autism in me that makes me uncomfortable when things are changed too much. So that's why I put that cheap eBay deflector on my screen, because it kept the original screen and it does a remarkably good job. And I'm sure some of the other screens, the Givy comes up a lot as being very good. I'm sure they do a good job, but that moves away from the standard a bit too much for me. That's why I've stuck with that cheap eBay deflector. So these three things will always cause a lot of chat, which is good. But remember, just because something's been improved, if you're somebody who likes the latest thing, it doesn't mean to say the thing that was improved was poor. It just means it's been improved a little bit. Remember when Pilot 3s were out? Michelin Pilot 3s, best thing since sliced bread. Now we have Pilot Road 6s, best thing since sliced bread. You know, could you really tell a difference? Possibly if you thought about it, but in general riding, do what you feel comfortable with. You know, make decisions that make you comfortable. Don't just be swayed because somebody says something's really good. Might be really good for them, but depends what you're looking for in the products that you buy. Okay, so I hope you got something out of that. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye.